Hi guys, Tiffany here. So I know it's late. Life, every day is late in my life because I watch kids until after 10 p.m. or later. So I'm on kind of late, like always. But a lot of us quilters are up late, so hey, we're here. So today I'm just squaring up my blocks, my star blocks. Yes, there's just a plain black and white one being thrown in there randomly, but we're gonna square these up because some of them didn't come up to the size that I had on the rest. So let me get this situated. Anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna square all these up and then I am going to add sashing. So oh, and I pressed and trimmed all the little pieces to 2 inches that we were cutting off of these, that I saved, that extra step that I did. So I have this big pile right here. It's not really that big compared to most piles, but it's my big pile, trimmed up pieces that I'm going to use to make something with. So it's already ready for me. So let's get to trimming and stuff, and I guess we can just hang out and whoever's on can say hi. And if you're not, then you're just watching me trim up blocks today. So they were supposed to come out at 13.75 or 14.7, something like that. So some of them came out at 14 inches. Thirteen, 14-ish inches. So I'm going to trim them all probably down to 13 and a half, just because that make it them all the same. 14. Yeah. So some of them are different. Some of them are exactly 14 like they're supposed to be. I probably could fudge the ones that aren't, I guess. Instead of trimming them, I could just start adding sashing. Let's see how bad some of them are, though. I guess I'll just finish checking them all and see. Wow, like 90% of them are so close so far. I managed to do 20 blocks. I might just leave them at 14. Let's see right now. We can just add sashing, make it easier. I didn't get a chance to do this earlier, so I figured I'd just come on live. See, this one's kind of, I don't know, I'm probably going to have to just fudge it because it's so close, like really, really close. I'll leave this one aside because it's so close. Let me see, I don't want to have to trim them all if just one so far is not the right size. Wow, so far they're all 14. So how's everyone doing today? Thursday is today. I had a good day, sorta. I went across the lake on the ferry, came home, watched kids, went in the pool, did some pool exercises, which I'm going to go back in a little while and do more. Did some trimming and cutting, did some sewing this morning, and so far that's all I've done today, really. Medically speaking, it's been an okay day. I'm walking just fine. I'm not hurting as bad. I am hurting, but not as bad as normal. It's not my normal pain. It's calm. I do have face pain today. Wow, so they're all, except for this block. And this one could probably just use some pressing, really. I mean, it's like right there. Okay, I'm just gonna not trim them, and I'm just going to get some sashing cut. How's that? So I'm going to sash them in the same the ocean color, and we're going to do 1.5 inch strips. I don't want too big of a sashing. My last cut was pretty straight, so I'm just going to cut 1.5 inch strips. And I don't normally cut this way, go figure. I usually cut this way, so I'm going to turn myself around so that I can cut the right hand that I usually use. I'm going to line it up on the 1.5 inch line that's on my ruler. And my cutting area out in my room is a lot different than outside. Outside I'm able to use my large cutting mat, and there's no bumps like this table has lumps and bumps in it because it's an old table and it's plastic, and it's been out in the garage for so long it's starting to get weird lumps in it. I don't know how many I need. I think I'm going to need at least 20 pieces to start. I'll just start with some for now. Normally I would cut it off the bolt and then cut by measuring how much exactly I need, but I didn't think that far ahead. I just wanted to work and come online and say hi to everyone, and plus it's kind of fascinating watching how other people do things. So since I like watching how other people do things, I'm sure other people will like watching me how I do these things. I get tired after a while standing though, but I will make it work. Again, I'm just cutting 1.5 inch strips for my sashing, and I need to cut some 1.5 inch strips so I can do cornerstones. I think I should count how many I need for that though. So I will probably go to the calculator for that one real quick. So 1.5 inch sashing strips. I have 20 blocks. I usually align from my ruler most of the time. Sometimes I line on the cutting mat, depends on if I go past the size that my ruler is, which this is a 6 by 24 inch ruler. And if I have extra strips, it's okay because I will use them for my diamond quilt that I have yet to finish because I need the garage floor to do so, because it wasn't working laying it out on my bed to piece it in my rows since I'm doing it diagonally. So that one's on hold for now. But this one will get done, and then there'll be 3 tops done at least of 4. my ruler moves sometimes because I have it shakes always. So if you ever see my ruler moving, don't freak out. I adjust it. If I do cut mess ups, I always fix it. Alright, I'm just going to do this many for now. Stop here so I can get some cornerstones cut and calculated, I guess. So, how I calculate things and how I kind of do stuff actually, I do all my math on paper. And I can't draw for the life of me, guys. So, this is what we're going to do. This is how I figure out how many things I need or what I need. And also, when I'm designing something or writing it out, I just kind of rough sketch it. So, I would make a big square thing like this. And I'm doing, let's see if I can even do this because, so that'd be row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and 5. And then by 4. 1, 2, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay. 4 crossed by 5 down is what I'm doing. So how I calculate how many cornerstones I need, I'm going to have them on my first border as well as inside. So I would do it this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and 30. So I need 30 cornerstone pieces. Clear. So I think this is how to do it because I'm horrible at math. We're going to go, let's see, my material is like what? We'll just say 38 inches, I think. Let's see, 44 inches, okay. So we'll just do 40 inches. Okay, so this calculator does not work. I'm just going to guess then. I need 30. I can get 16 out of every cut. So, 15, 16, 30. I need 2. So I'm going to do black cornerstones. This is a nice fresh bolt. I just grabbed it out of the garage because I knew I needed more. So I'm going to trim off this fold since I don't feel like ironing it. Just trim it off real quick, nice and straight. Straight as I can get it at least. Right there. Now just put this away to iron for later. So I need 2 1.5 inch strips from this. And that's all I need for cornerstones. And I'll probably need more of the other ones still, but for now that's cut. Now let's subcut that. My little ruler. I just stack them on top of each other really nicely. And I lay them on a line on my mat. And I start with a line in the beginning to cut the selvage off. And this is where that big lump is in my table right here. And I use the ruler to find my 1.5 inch. 30. Or I can use that for something else. Okay, so this is how I do this. Move that out of my way. Grab these. Bring these over here. So normally I would put this out of my way. I'm going to pre-cut 14-inch. That's not going to work. Okay. Since my fan is on, it's trying to blow things. I'm going to cut 14-inch strips off of here. Normally I would just sew them on, but because some of my strips are a little bit off, or my blocks, I'm going to try it this way real quick. Make a bunch of 14-inch strips this way. Line these back up. I could cut like, I don't know, 6, sometimes 8 layers, but since there's this weird lump in this table, I try not to do it very often. I'll do it outside, but I won't do it in here. So I'll just stack them up in piles of 2 and of 3, I should say. Do 6. I try to align all the salvages so they get cut off evenly. Because the material is never letting salvage to salvage, and I don't want to waste anything. Time to sit down already. My goodness. And when you're messing with strips, you can hold them up. You know? Like if you wanted to align all of these, just hold them up. Give them a good shake. And it lines them all up. It's not very hard to do. So when I'm doing sashing, I connect it differently than some people. I don't make the long strip and then hook it to the center. I do it block by block. Each block gets the amount of pieces of sashing that it needs. So on the little drawing that I made, I'll show you what I'm saying. In a second, let me line these up and get these cut, and then I'll show you what I'm talking about. And if fabric does not align, you can always use your fingernails or fingers to line it back up. It's pretty forgiving. It'll come back to where it's supposed to be. And I'm going to pull out my big ruler because we're going to cut these at 14 inches. They're all lining up on a line. So they should be nice and straight. I'm going to grab the big ruler. I'm going to trim off that first section of all the salvage since I laid them out there just right. Line this up. That big lump really is in the way. And I'm going to come over 14 inches. And I'm upside down, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 10. And this is where I'm using the mat, because I have it upside down, so I have to use the mat to count. And then open all these up and trim those to 14 inches. So for now, we have all these. So I can start with all these. Turn this back around so I can read it properly. We'll open all these should press that fold out, but I'm not going to. I'm hoping that these are 14 inches. Oh, look at that. Pretty much. Just cutting off an inch off of all of them, actually. Does anybody have any plans for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday? If you have any good plans, put it down in the comments. Tell me the things that you're doing over the weekend. I, myself, will have children, and I will probably do this and play in the pool with the kids, since I did everything I was supposed to do today by going across the lake. And if you're watching and you like watching my videos, like and subscribe. Actually, I don't actually have to like each individual video, but subscribing would be nice. I'm at 47 people. That's it, 47 subscribers. So 47 people who like watching me do boring stuff. Because I really don't do much but quilt. So 47 people, some of them aren't even quilters, follow me. Which is pretty nice, I guess. I'm going to trim this edge up real quick, make it nice, and I don't care if there's a lump. Most of you probably would. They'd cringe at it, but you know what? I don't mind. Coming over to the 14 inch by flattening that lump down. It's flattened down, so I know I'm doing it right. Line it up, trim all that off. And you know what, I'm not even going to save it because it's too small. And there we go. There's all my pieces. Well, mostly. I could be off. I could have more than I need. We'll see. So this is how I know what I'm doing. So in each one of these is a block. Obviously, we're going to pretend that these lines in between are sashing and our cornerstones. So these are our blocks inside here. Well, I can't draw for the life of me. You should see my writing. It's pretty terrible too. Normally, can't even write. So my hands shake and hurt. Writing actually hurts. My daughter, when she lived with me, she used to be the one to do all this for me. She'd draw things up. She'd randomly draw up a quilt for me. Say, Mom, can you make this? Alright, so what I do is when I'm making sashing, typically everybody, so if you can see my chart here, I don't even know if you can see what I'm writing. Can you see what I'm writing? Let's look for a second. I should have used the black marker. I don't even know if I have one in here. Yeah, let me grab a marker. So I have the Sharpie. Look at that. Pretty sure you can see it now that it's a Sharpie. Okay. So in between all these are our squares and our cornerstones. So here's our squares. I should have had a Sharpie in the first place. I didn't know you guys couldn't see it. I should start looking at myself on my screen more often. So, first we know we need 30 cornerstones. Okay? We know that because we counted and circled them all right here. Because this is where our cornerstones go. cornerstones are not circles, but for now they are. So here's our chart, hoping you can see. So most people attach sashing to what would be the right of the block at first. So that would be right here first. That's how I do it, the same as everyone else. But then I attach the bottom and a cornerstone. The bottom and a cornerstone. So I pre-attach my bottoms and cornerstones. Then I do that with every piece. So I attach all my side sashings, like right here. And then I attach all my bottoms and cornerstones. Okay, through all my blocks. So my top corner block, I know that I need to start with a sashing and a cornerstone, a sashing and a cornerstone, a sashing, and then the top cornerstone and sashing. And then the next piece will have sashing, and it already has that cornerstone, so it just needs the bottom sashing, a cornerstone, and then a cornerstone top sashing. Make sense? Then the next row will be, because it already has that one corner or sashing, you put a corner. The next one would be start with a cornerstone, go across, end with a cornerstone, down this one, end with a cornerstone, down this one. Get where I'm going here? So let's do it. I don't know how I'm going to have these laid out just yet, because I have not done that either. I'm trying to just be raw, and this is how I am at home. Makes it easier. I don't even have my machine on, look at that. So let's lay these out. And I'm going to just grab from where I need, once they are laid out. I'm going to try to put the pieces, because I'm going to be going dark, light, and if any piece has a piece that goes, if it has directional fabric, like this one has directional fabric in it, I'm going to make sure my directions are up, that way when I grab my piece, it'll be the way it needs to be. You guys get that general idea. I just realized that one is big. And I have a plain solid one in here too, so I want to make sure that goes where it needs to go. Because that one's probably going to go right down in the bottom corner. We'll see how it looks in a second. I don't want whites next to whites, but gray is fine next to white. Because it's white, black, and gray, and I'm trying to mix it up as best as possible. And then I'll just get up and grab as I go. I'm making it. This one. There. White or gray. Right here. Directional. So we'll put this one here. Oh, can't do that. Just put it there. We'll have to move some of these around. My solid, yep, because my solid black and white one I don't want. I guess I'll just randomly put it in. Right? Nope, can't go there. Has to go somewhere where there's white. Or black corners, I should say. be the next one. Aha, there we go. My random block. I guess we're gonna have to have black next to black. The sashing will be here, so it won't matter actually. Because the sashing will be mixed in. I think I'm going to swap this one and this one. There we go. That's a little better. Alright, so that's how it's going to lay. So, this keeps happening. I'm trying to make sure I get things done right. So I'm going to attach sashing and I'm going to finger press things. Move that out of my way. Okay. Check on something real quick. So what I would do is I would count how many need to have pre-cornerstones added to them. So this, so far, actually I'm not even going to do that. I'm just going to sew on my first pieces. How's that sound? I'm going to move this out of the way. I don't need the scissors. I'm just going to take one, sew it on. And I put my little handy dandy magnet down on my machine so that I don't lose my 1/4 inch. Line it up and just start sewing. And then I'll just lay them back in their spot. Turn my iron on because my iron blows these blocks around like crazy. So if you see how this one wasn't the exact 14, I'm just going to straighten it up right there. And that one's finished. Now it's going to get its one piece with a cornerstone. Where'd they go? They're right here. Okay. And then I'm going to add a cornerstone to it. Finger press that out. Actually, I'm going to finger press these all in. That way they lay right. Then I'll lay it right here. Put it on the block. Nest those seams up. Lay it under the machine. Follow it all the way down. Line it up just nice. Hold that down. Hold it at the end where it needs to be. Press that out. I'm pushing out this sashing piece and running my finger along the seam, folding it back. So there's one piece with its top, or its cornerstone already on it. So now I would need to add another piece of the cornerstone and another piece of the cornerstone. So we're going to add 2 more because this is the top corner. You'll get the picture of what I'm doing here in a second. Because I don't like adding that strip. I'm finger pressing these in. So this one's going to go on this side. And then the next piece will have a cornerstone on each end. And then this will go back in its spot, and you'll see how the next one goes. Line these two ends up. Lay it nice and flat. So this one went over just a little, because some of them are going to. I'm going to finger press this out. Grab my cutter, cut off. Won't have to do that on very many of these. And then, now I need to add a cornerstone to each end of this piece. I'm just going to pull it around while it's still hooked. Slide it through. Finger press them inward. Right sides together along the top, and those should nest just right because it's cut at 14, just the size of the block. And then the cornerstones makes it 15 something. Lay it on there. I'm holding my nested seam down here because I don't want to have to continue. Trying to keep it nice and flat. So this one now has sashing all the way around, so that I don't have to add one solid row of sashing and try to match everything up. I like how the blocks lay flatter this way. Obviously, if I was pressing it, it would be a lot flatter. So this one is finished. It's almost as if you just did a single block. Lay it in its spot. So now the first piece is already done. So I'm going to bring this over, this next one. So this already has sashing. So where I pulled it from, this side already has sashing. So now we're going to add sashing, cornerstone, sashing, and cornerstone, sashing, and cornerstone on 3 sides. So the top will get a piece of sashing, the bottom get a piece of sashing, and then the side will get one piece of sashing with 2 cornerstones. You see what I'm doing in just a second. So, you can press these out. And my directional fabric actually is going to help me when it comes to which way it's supposed to lay. So where I have it, this is the side I need to add 2 cornerstones to, because remember the last piece already has them and the sashing that goes right there. So this piece will get 2 cornerstones. Hoping this is making sense. Slide it around real quick, throw in another one. Finger press them to the ocean color. Make sure it's where it's supposed to be. Put it on, right sides together. Nest your seam right here at the top. line it on. Go down to your bottom. Nest your seam down there and just hold it. Shaking hands thing is not helping me with it today. And I just pick up my fabric to adjust the straight line. And it just lays right here nicely. And then I just big press it out. So now that these are done, now watch. Here's piece 1 or piece 2. Bring over piece 1 and see, now it's already connected. So you just hook those two together. And the cornerstone is already on it. So all you have to do is nest your seam, line it up, go down to the bottom, nest your seam. The fabric will be facing a different way because it's upside down. So every other row will have an upside down pressed seam. And there's no way to really fix that besides doing a little seam trim. Trying to keep it held at the same time, which is very frustrating right now because my fingers are not working the way I wanted them to. I'm going to press all the aqua inward. And look at that. There's the top 2 pieces. Sashing is already attached and I don't have to do a long straight row. So then I put this back. So I know that the next one just needs the 3 sides again. It's got directional in it. So we're going to do the same thing. Since this side is already finished, I just add top, bottom, and side with 2 cornerstones. And this is actually looking really cool using the same color that I used in the stars as the sashing with a black cornerstone. Press it all back, pull them nice and tight. Grab another piece, put a cornerstone on each side. Sometimes working with these smaller pieces can be a little bit tricky and harder, but I prefer bigger sashing, but because there's so much already this color in the quilt top, I chose to just keep it smaller. Plus it's going to be pretty large. It'll fit a twin bed properly. It'll fit a, I don't know, with all the sashing in it, it'll sit nicely on, perfectly on a full-size bed. Like I said, with the 4 quilt series that I'm doing, 2 of them are going to be large, and the other 2 are lap. Come down to the bottom, fold my 2 seams, straighten that up, all the way down. I like nice long seams. Alright, so now this next one is finished. So now I'm going to attach it to piece 1 and 2, which are already done. So I'm going to grab them, put it right sides together, line it on here, nest these seams. So to that first one, go down to the next one. This one has a little piece sticking out because of how long it was. So I'm just going to make sure I sew just to the side of it a little. It's almost kind of like quilting as you go, except you're not quilting as you go, you're piecing it in full in a quilt as you go method. So there's 3 done. So now the next piece we know is only going to need the same top, bottom, and side, and that'll be row 1 completely sewn together. So this just needs top, bottom, and side. It's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again. Top, bottom, side, top, bottom, side. After that first piece has all the pieces on it, no, this just needs bottom. What am I thinking? No, yeah, top, bottom, side. The middle row is, see, I confused myself and I'm almost going to confuse you guys. It's the middle sections that don't need top and bottom. They'll just need a side and a bottom. The top row is top, bottom, and one side after that first piece. Glad I chose not to trim these down too, because I would be still trimming. Press them out. Make sure my direction is the way the directional fabric goes. That's how I know what top and what is bottom of the piece. So now all we need to do is add this side one right here with a cornerstone on top and bottom. Normally I wouldn't have just cut thread, but I don't know what I was thinking. Press them inward. Lay it on, right sides together. Line those up. Nest those seams. Seems so much easier to do it this way to me. I almost went too fast. Me and my misspeediness. So this is an easier way This is an easier way to do it if you don't have a design wall, or you know, you just have your floor or something and you don't want to get up and down. Because from here, you just go to your chart and you know which ones, once you have that first row done, you'll know exactly what the next piece, the next row is going to need from just looking at that first row. So you can make the rows, stack them in front of you, and then I hook the rows together as I go and the pieces to it. So see, now that this is done, I will bring the rest of row 1 over and then attach it. And then that will be a complete done row. My next border, when I'm finished with this, is going to be white, I think. And then, to try to make it as big as possible, I have this really cool black and white stripe fabric. If it's not enough to go on the back, then I'm going to use it as border, because it's really, really awesome. It's a stripe, but it's a big stripe. Now I'm going to make it to where I can finger press that inward. Laying that seam. You can feel the seam underneath if it's laying the right way. And any loose pieces should come right out. And then, here we go, row 1. Look at that. Row 1 is complete. So there's row 1. So far, that's pretty wide. I mean, if you can see. So far, it's pretty wide. So now back to laying it down. So now the next pieces, the next row, let me lay this out right. The next row already has tops done. So they would be side, side, and bottom. So when you pull it over, it doesn't need a top because the other row's top is done. So this needs first strip, side, side, and bottom. So the bottom will be where you attach the 2 cornerstones this time. So both sides get a strip. The other side. Finger press them. And since there's directional fabric, again, now you will know that you did your side side, and now you know your next piece is your bottom because your directional fabric says you don't need top and bottom. You don't need the top, you just need the bottom. So again, we grab another strip, 2 cornerstones. I find this way so much easier, to me at least. Finger press them outward because the other row is finger pressed out. So these are technically, oops, wrong way. And you finger press it the wrong way, you can just flip it with your finger. So we know that this would be the top because of my direction fabric. Lay this on, right sides together. Nest your seam. Lay it under there. Do a stitch, come down to the bottom, nest that seam, hold that corner. I kind of just hold it at the nested seam in the corner. I hold it the whole way. Oh, look at that, I ran out of thread. I'm sewing without thread, look at that. It's a good thing I rolled a bunch of bobbins yesterday. I did some free motion quilting on a big huge quilt. I should have laid it out so you guys can see. I finished a quilt that I started for my daughter over 2 years ago. I sat here for a couple hours and free motion quilted it, and I got frustrated and frustrated and frustrated because free motion quilting hurts my back really badly and my neck. I don't know, I just don't focus properly when I'm doing it. So yeah, I did that and finished it. It's a scrappy quilt. I didn't even backstitch there, I just kind of started going further from where it ended. After a while you'll learn, because all these seams will be stitched into something. They seem to stay. Press it out. So this is part 1, piece 1 from row 2. So the top doesn't need to be done, so I just lay it down. So the next piece just needs a side. This one just needs a bottom and a side. And that's it on this one. So I'll put the side on, and then we'll add a cornerstone for the next piece that's going to go on the bottom. You'll get the hang of it once you do this once or twice. I seem to put quilts together so much faster this way. Reality. Faster if I wasn't trying to talk and work at the same time as well. So it'll get this, and then put the directional fabric the way it goes. It really helps that way. And then the next piece will go on the bottom with the cornerstone. So let's add a cornerstone. Press it back. Lay it on there, right sides together. Line it up. Take a few stitches, come to the bottom. The rest of the pieces in this row will only need the side and the bottom after piece 1. So here's that. We'll bring piece 1 back over here. See? So I just attached these together, and the cornerstone is already up on row 1 on the bottom. So I just put this on here. Line it up. Nest my seam down at the bottom. I gotta flip the fabric up because it's not facing the correct direction on the bottom. Doesn't seem to want to stay facing the way I want it to face. Right at that point. Seriously, what just happened now? Hey, look at me. Having issues tonight. Aha. That's wonderful. Don't you hate when thread gets stuck? Oh, there's a nice big chunky piece of dust in my bobbin. Probably wasn't spinning correctly. I like my brother's machine, how it has the drop-in bobbin, but because this is a mid-arm, it's top load. I gotta sew that all over again. I'm just having one of those nights. That's okay. At least you guys are getting a hint of how I do this with the sashing. And like I've said before, I don't know how to use that automatic thread loader on here. I've watched videos a bazillion times. I've tried it a bazillion times and I just can't seem to do it. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. I'm going to pre-nest that seam, line that up, lay it up here, drop my presser foot, oh, just a little bit over. I need more than one hand. More than two hands. I need like 5 hands. I have a knee lift for this, but this table is too tall for me to use it. Alright, there we go. Now it's done. So I'm going to finger press that inward. So the next second piece of this row is done. So I'm just going to leave it right here. Grab the next one, because all it needs is a bottom and a side. This is my plain one. It's just randomly in row 2. Yikes, almost midnight. And I'm just going to leave that on there. Add the sashing cornerstone right here. Trim it away. Finger press this back. Press that back, add it to the bottom. I like that I'm having the random black and white block in here. It's reminding me of something I've seen a long time ago in a quilt book or something. Maybe it was it was in a book. It was a solid quilt, and then they had one colored quilt and the whole entire solid quilt. Press that back. Add it to there. See how fast this goes? It goes so much faster, I think, than the other way. I don't know. I just started doing it this way, and I like it this way. Now, when I add sashing, I always do it this way. Have a whole lot of space. I think this is the best way to add it when you're lacking space. And it's good to just make yourself a little chart on a piece of paper. Press that back. And I'll press the whole entire quilt when it's finished. I have to go outside with my big board to do that because it makes it easier. So now I just need to add this one, which again only gets a side and a bottom. And then I'll hook the other 2 rows together and you can see how it goes. Since I can see this really well, I'm just going to trim that. So now I just need to add the bottom one. And press it back. Add it on the bottom. And the cool thing is there's no flipping or adjusting because everything ends up on your right side. So you don't have to turn any of the pieces upside down. See, it's already on the top on that 1 row again, like I said, so you just add it to this right here. That bottom one will be pressed the wrong way every single time when you get to the second part. It's just how it works. Just on that seam though. A couple stitches, line it up, hold it. I like to hold some of my pressed seams the way they're pressed, keeping the block laying nice and flat. So, this is row 2. I'm going to lay it right here because I'm going to lay row 1 right on top of it. So here's row 1, and it goes like this way. I'm going to lay it right on top. And this is going to be one big, huge, long seam. I just lay it right here on my lap. I line it just right because I have a cornerstone right here. And I just flip the seam the way it needs to lay. Come across it and then start lining each and every cornerstone, pre-lining them. Just holding them down, letting it take its way through. Get to one cornerstone, make sure the other one's nesting right on the next piece. Come to the next one, holding the whole thing. Flip the stone, keeping that nice and flat on the whole top. Holding it nice and flat, keeping it nice and level. This one, both of these need to be pushed out. Come to the next one. Get nice and flat on there. Should lay just flat. You just have to adjust it depending on the kind of machine and table you're using. That one's in, that one's in, okay. Going upward. And then the last one. we open it up. We have two. And if you sew, wherever my thingy went, oh, they're there. If you get any threads pulling up through, some pull right through, some are sewn in, just snip those out. So I'm going to press this seam upward. I'm just going to go all the way down, folding it at my cornerstones, making sure all those are up, pulling it nice and tight. You can feel it laying upwards like it's supposed to. I'm kind of just going a block at a time. Okay, so here is row 1 and row 2 already. See how fast that happens? I hope I'm over enough. So row 1 and 2 are now done, and look at, they're fully sashed. So I lay it back up there, because I don't need it for a while. Yeah, with the borders, it's definitely going to be a full-size quilt. Okay, so now we know piece number 1 for row 3. Oh, let me check this again real quick. Okay, so piece number 1 for row 3 only needs, to start it, we need to do side, side, and bottom. So you lay it its direction the way you have it, so it's going to be side, side, and bottom on this one. Did I really lose it again? I'm having machine problems today. Dust is sure flying out on me. It's about time to clean this after all 4 of these quilts. Actually, technically I've pieced 5 quilts so far since I've been inside, and quilted 2 things. So, and then all the extra sewing in between. Like last night I fixed some pajamas of mine since I wear big huge nightgowns. Well, I've lost weight since I've gotten some of them, so I needed my big huge nightgowns taken down some so that they don't spin underneath me, or else I spin in my clothes. So I taught myself how to take those down. Normally I don't do that. And I did it on this machine because I don't have a serger. What did I say? Side, side, and bottom on this? My 1/4 inches off right there. Kind of slid to the side a little. There we go. So I said side, side, and bottom on this. We don't have to worry about the top. The top is already finished on the last row that was completed. Leave it on there, add 2 cornerstones. Make sure they're both on the top if you're chain piecing and doing it like this. You don't want to sew it to the wrong side. Finger press this out. Check your directional fabric so you know which one is the bottom. If it's not directional, just put it on one. be my bottom on this one. Line those. Nest those seams. When I hit the part of the table where the extended table comes across and the part where my presser plate, it always seems to catch that, and it is kind of annoying sometimes actually. And it folds the seam up the other way. So piece 1 is now done. So now we know that the next one just needs a side and a bottom. That's pretty much the rest of the quilt. The first piece needs the 2 sides and a bottom, and then the rest just need 1 side and a bottom. I'm hoping this makes sense to you guys. And I pretty much broke every single nail on my hand, except for these 2. The rest of them have all broke, my thumb hasn't, and then this one, my first finger's still there, but I don't press with this hand, and the rest have all broke off. It's kind of annoying. I like my nails long, but I haven't went and got them done to keep them from breaking. Because usually I get them acrylic so they don't break. Do any of you acrylic your natural nails? Leave it in the comments below. Probably won't do all 5 blocks on camera, but I'll at least finish this, or I mean all 5 rows. That way, at least this doesn't run too long of a video, that I could show you guys what it looks like in another video once it's finished. Since nobody's watching anyway. And I don't know how to get more subscribers because I don't know what to do or say in my description to get people to follow me. I guess if you're interested in quilting, then you would look up quilting videos and watch quilting. This is piecing for quilting, quilting related. We'll leave this right here. Grab the next piece. All I know is it needs 1 side and 1 bottom with a cornerstone. Straight, so we're going to make it straight. Let's add a bottom and a cornerstone. from the black. Lay it on here. Wait. Let's make sure it's where it needs to be. Yep, that was the right one. I almost laid it somewhere else, but then it wouldn't have sewn on right. So we lay it back there. We know we got it right. Lay it on. Sew it together. See how much faster this goes? This is how I know people can make a quilt in a day. This is so fast. Well, at least in a day if you have a day to make a quilt. For those of you who don't work outside the home, since I don't work outside the home, so there's the next one. I'm really loving this. This is going to be so cute. I'm loving it. This could be for girl or boy, honestly. It is definitely that cute. Alright, next. Again, just the side and the bottom is all this one needs. I'm like sewing all over the place today. Let me tell you. Either cutting, leaving things on, change things. Finger pressing instead of ironing like I would normally. Lay that on there where it's supposed to go. You know it goes on the bottom. So what we'll do is I'll finish sewing this on, sew that piece on, and then sew this row to the next row, to the top two rows, so that you can see. On there, sew it on, line that bottom, take a couple stitches, hold it just right. Finger press it towards the aqua color, or it's aqua color, yes, it's called Ocean. Okay, so now we're going to take this, just throw it up there, flip it up over, because that's where it goes. Bring these two pieces over, and sew it on. And then I'll stop after this and finish myself, because I don't want to keep you guys any longer. It's probably been an hour. If I can get the first piece under there, And I'm not doing any back stitching because I am adding borders, so there's no need for back stitching at this point. Okay, so I'm going to come down to my next seam. I'm going to flip them the way they need to go. Hold it nice and straight. Hold it while I get to it. Make sure they're both laying the way they need to lay. Come down to the next one. To lay actually. Come down to the next one. It's yanking. The yanking. It's a thread right there that keeps wanting to get stuck under the machine. I try to trim my threads when they're really, really long, but I don't always get too long. I'm coming to the last cornerstone here. Laying it nice and flat. Press that inward. When like I said, I'll iron this when I go outside to my garage, to my bigger ironing board. It's a lot easier. This little ironing board that I have in here is just for blocks, honestly. I just brought it in to make sure I'm getting everything correct. And so far, here's 3 rows. And they're finished all the way to the bottom. So if you wanted just a small quilt, that would be it, right there. But nope, I'm still going. So I would lay it back in the spot. Pick up all my pieces, because I just knocked them all over. As you can see, it's growing. 2 more rows to go. And then a good pressing. So I hope you enjoyed watching how I personally make sashing and sash my blocks and put them together when you're in a small space. When you first start doing it, refer to a chart so that you would remember, okay, so I just did this one, the bottom's already attached, so all I need is the side and the bottom. You know what I mean? It makes it easier to refer to your chart. I never learned this from anyone. I started teaching myself to do this, so now I'm teaching you how to add sashing as you go, because it's so much easier than trying to make a long sashing strip and then just say out of the blue, one of those sashing strips is a 1/2 inch too short, and then you're trying to yank your material and you got to take that whole strip back out because it didn't line up. If you were making it 1 block at a time, you'd know every time each block is going to line up because you cut it for each block. And if it didn't fit that block specifically, then you're going to take it off and put a piece that does. So making the sashing 1 block at a time and then connecting them all, not only is it faster, but it's more accurate. So that is how I do it, and I'm sharing how I do it with you. So just make yourself a chart when you're just starting, or refer to my video. You can ask me any questions you want. Just leave it in the comments below. Like and subscribe if you want to see more of how I do this and what I'm doing when I'm making quilts. So I'm a random quilter. I do a little bit of everything. So right now it's sashing, and I can go step by step again on another quilt. But for now, I'm going to finish my 2 rows and let you guys go. Have a good night. Thank you for watching.